I got a lot out of it because I think what I was scared of was to getting to know myself.
Yeah.
In all aspects, like the good, bad, the ugly.
I keep meeting women who I've heard all my life are bitchy and pushy and so on and so forth. I meet them and they're nice, compassionate people.
I adore dessert. I love men. I think men are the coolest. But you don't really need them to live.
To love is to know. And how can you know when each wears these masks that keep us from being ourselves? And then in the larger sense, in the world sense, we'll be able to make love, not war.
Very vibe.
Yeah, very vibe. I was looking over the notes of our tarot reading the other day.
That was intense.
It was so intense. I didn't tell you this, but I started kind of like freaking out a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah, because it was just so.
Told me.
No, it was just so overwhelming because it was just so like on point.
Yeah.
And I knew exactly what it was telling me.
Yeah.
And but like it applied to so many things in my life.
Yeah.
And it was really correlative as well with like the new moon that's tonight.
Yeah.
So I was like pretty overwhelmed. Yeah.
Oh.
It was great though. It was good. It's really set me on the course and made me very okay with, recent events and everything. So
New beginnings.
New beginnings. That's the vibe.
And getting rid of those that don't serve you.
That's it.
Oh, too good.
So,
Well,
welcome
guys,
back.
Thank you so much for joining us. Just going to do a little intro. So I'm Ebony.
And I'm Meg.
And this is the New Vibe podcast.
Welcome.
So what we're really setting out for this podcast is just kind of putting in a framework of well-being and, finding your true alignment with yourself.
Yep. And tools for empowerment, self-awareness, self-discovery and self-expression.
Yeah.
And I guess through that as well, we'll share our journey with the topics that we kind of handle. The good, the bad, the amazing and the ugly.
Yeah.
All of it.
Oh, for sure, the ugly. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But and we like our astrology as well, so we really get into that and our spirituality, as you can tell by the photo over here and our little setup.
That's it. And if you want to check out the moon ritual that we'll be doing later tonight, please head over to our Instagram, New Verb Podcast.
Yeah.
Pretty active.
It's going to be some deep shit.
That's it. You can also look forward to a few guests as well. So we've got a yoga teacher lined up.
Yep.
A Reiki healer.
Yep.
A behavioral therapist.
That one's going to be super interesting.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that one.
Me too. And then we've also got a psychology honours student who's just finished their thesis on self-compassion and mindfulness. So
that one would be good too.
Yeah.
That'll be like getting into it.
That's it. So
all about that healing work.
All about that healing, all about that perspective, just loving it.
Yeah. So guys, we just want to let you know this is a really safe space and you can reach out and connect in any way. If there's any topics that you want us to talk about, just let us know. We'll link all of the socials in the show notes. So yeah, get to it.
That's it. And we as just to kind of expand on that. We are a shame-free zone.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But also we're pretty real about everything. So if that's your cup of tea, you vibe it. Welcome to the New Vibe. Welcome to the New Vibe tribe.
Yeah, let's get it. So today's show, we're going to be doing about something that's quite important, I think.
Yeah.
Especially for me. Just hitting myself in the face with the mic there. So something quite important, especially for me, is independence and being okay with yourself and enjoying your own company and just accepting that that's okay and you don't need anything more.
100%. Yep. So today, this was actually requested by one of our New Vibe Tribe members.
Oh yeah.
So it's on gaining independence, but also managing loneliness. So two sides of the same coin. We're going to go, a bit about what is loneliness, how to, and independence, how they relate to each other, tips on managing both, but also the gifts of independence.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoy it. First episode, diving right in.
Yeah.
Real deep.
Straight into it.
Real deep. Let's jump into it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we should start with what independence is. For me, I would say that it's just having your own voice, having your own thoughts and being in control of those.
Yeah, okay. So can you define that a bit more?
So not sort of like your own identity, I guess. So for me, I did a lot of backpacking and traveling, and I did it all by myself, and everybody said like, oh, you know, if you do that alone, like it's not safe, blah, blah, blah. But I felt like I got the most out of it because I was doing it alone. I wasn't kind of sat in a social bubble or with family telling me what to do. Like it's the kind of time that you do just find your own way, and you know, you're the decision maker.
Yeah.
So you navigate everything.
Oh, that's
Does that
really
make
interesting.
sense?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, that would be a wonderful way to get to know yourself because you're, you know, kind of juxtaposing yourself in all these different, varying, changing and new environments as well.
And you're also having to deal with the consequences of those decisions.
For sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think how I relate to independence is, having my own voice, being my own decision maker and also being accountable.
Oh, yes. That is good.
That word.
That word. Oh no, it's so good. I just say it so often. Oh no, it's amazing. Yeah, okay. I kind of vibe with that. For me, independence is kind of in the same vein. Independence. So for me, it used to mean not needing anyone, which I think is kind of a toxic way to look at it. Because, you know, we're interpersonal creatures.
We thrive off those relationships.
Well, yeah, we also, like, not to be a bit nerdy here, but we evolved to have social connections.
Yeah.
The reasons why we beat out the Neanderthals is because we learned how to cooperate and work as a group, as a community. So it's actually evolved into us to need others and to belong. Fun fact. So in terms of independence, I think it's about, you know, like as you kind of said, it's really getting in touch with your own identity and being okay with that, being compassionate with that, but also being protective of it. Yeah. Which I think is quite something that's not really kind of touched upon in the wellness community. Yeah. So I think it's kind of self-sufficiency. So you're able to be self-sufficient in the context of, you know, managing your emotions, managing your finances, you know, managing just adulting generally, but also managing your inner world as well. Yeah. And your identity in interpersonal relationships.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's two different ends of that. Yeah. Like there is that like really strong person that's like, I don't need any help, like I can do it all on my own, but then they also struggle a lot because they don't want to ask for that help. Yeah. And then there's the other side where it's like, oh, I can't be alone, like I don't know what to do, I need someone there, I need that kind of codependency.
Interesting.
So I think it's kind of finding the balance between the two.
Well, should we give an example? So, I mean, I have been both for sure. I think in my earlier years, I was a little bit more, you know, codependent tendencies. Yeah. And, you know, so it was like really a journey of, you know, giving myself the self-esteem and all that sort of journey to then not feel that I needed that, which then kind of like led me though right to the other side where I was like, I'm super independent, my vulnerability, like, no,
I got this.
That's it. But I think like a recent example would be, so you and I had a chat on Wednesday, and for me, like, part of my independence is, you know, feeling like I don't need to speak about things to people. And I can be quite compartmentalized in that way. And so, you know, I had a chat with you and spoke to you about something that was like quite personal. But, you know, it wasn't as in like, hey, can you please manage this feeling for me? It was like, hey, this has happened. And this is something that I'm dealing with. Yeah. And like, I
definitely feel like that's a step in the right direction because it's breaking down that barrier of I don't need to talk to anyone about it because I'm
Yeah.
dealing with it myself.
Yep.
And it's like, actually, I may already be doing the work myself, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yep.
But there are people and there are tools and resources out there that
Yeah.
can help me further.
For sure. Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I think that I feel like that was really nuanced of us. Go us. Amazing.
Winning at life.
Right? Seriously.
No, we're just about holding it together.
Called the fuck out. I love it. Yeah, so I guess as our new Vibe Tribe member requested, the other side of that coin of independence can be loneliness.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to touch upon the difference between being alone and feeling lonely.
Yeah.
So for you, like, how do you experience either?
So I used to suffer with like quite bad social anxiety and depression. And I used to not want to share my problems and be a burden.
Wow.
Now I can't shut the fuck up.
And here we are today.
Yeah, but I didn't want to share it. And I was like, oh, people have got other things going on. I don't want to burden my problems onto them. I'm alone in this.
Oh.
And it's like, actually, you're not alone. You are choosing this loneliness feeling.
Yeah.
But you're not alone.
Yeah.
And I think, especially with mental health, that's two things that need to be distinguished, because a lot of people feel trapped and alone and they don't have help and they don't
have support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the feeling of loneliness is very different to the actual
like experience of like depression or anxiety.
Yeah.
And I think though, like, that's really interesting you say that. So from like, I've had really bad social anxiety and depression too. So I can totally relate to where you're coming from, and particularly the burden part. Like,
Yeah.
And I think what I've found is that when you do isolate yourself, when you are, just experiencing any emotion, whether it be mental health related or, just any experience in life, you don't feel like that you can share it with other people, or, that somehow it's entirely yours to own.
Yeah.
That it can exacerbate whatever that experience is or whatever that feeling or condition is. And I feel like there's such value in community.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so interesting. We're talking about independence, but we're really stressing community.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it is though, because you can be independent and still rely on people.
For sure.
You can... I'm trying to... And I think loneliness is kind of a temporary feeling and emotion, whereas being alone is kind of a state of being.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's really, really paramount not to confuse the two.
So, okay. So I think we might differ here, and I'd love to like kind of flesh out your thoughts. So for me, I define being alone as like more of a objective physical thing.
Yeah.
So like I live alone.
Yeah.
And loneliness is an internal experience
Yeah.
where you feel isolated and unsupported.
Yeah,
and
100% agree.
not belonging.
Yeah. So I feel like loneliness is an emotional response.
Yeah.
Whereas being alone is a kind of physical
Yeah. Okay.
state
Yeah.
of being. So
For
yeah,
sure.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I just maybe didn't articulate that.
No, that's cool. Sweet. Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that has an impact, because when people feel like when they're physically alone, it means that they're mentally, emotionally alone. But that's not always the case.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously in some unfortunate circumstances,
It can be.
people are alone.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of help groups and things like that will always be there for people.
Yeah.
But I definitely think there's a difference with the loneliness and being alone.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, I would like to kind of get your thoughts here. So I'm just kind of thinking. So reflecting on like my experience, I've definitely felt loneliness. I actually had like a huge fear of being alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like at the start of this year, I was in a relationship that was not such a vibe, not very productive, just not great.
It's not the vibe.
No.
Not the vibe at all.
And yeah, so I ended and so COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
And I was just getting really tired of his crap. You know how it be, ladies. And yeah, and I think it was like a week into COVID where I got to the point where I was like, okay, like, you know, I was so reticent up until that point to like end the relationship because I was so scared of like being alone and feeling lonely.
Yeah.
And I just ended the relationship like a week into COVID because I'm like, you know, I was at my breaking point. I'm just like, nah, over it. Rather like, you know, spend isolation alone and confront this fear and get to the bottom of it. And because I knew there was like a growth opportunity there, that fear of loneliness. And yeah, and I did that. And what I found is that I actually started feeling less alone.
Yeah. When you confront it head on.
Yeah.
Well, that's like anything. When you like confront that, like.
I was talking to a friend the other night and they actually had a really good analogy for that. It's it's like confronting a dragon in their den before it gets to your village.
Ah, I like that.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So it was totally, yeah. So I got to know myself.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. Now I love alone time.
Yeah.
I love it.
See, I'm an introvert in terms of my thought process.
Yeah.
I'm an extroverted person in my personality, but my thought process is very internalized and there's not many external factors that can impact it. Anything that impacts my emotions goes on in my head.
Oh, interesting.
So someone could say something to me that wouldn't upset me, but I could think about a scenario that hasn't happened and that would upset me.
Yeah.
So I also can get to that point where I'm on the spectrum, like I don't need anyone, I don't need to speak to anyone. I internalize everything and I'll deal with it myself.
Yep.
But it's actually like, no, you gotta let your guard down, let your barriers down.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's like worth noting though is that, you know, I think so something I've learned recently is that, you know, I've got this fear of vulnerability, right? And I've been like working on that.
Yeah.
So I mean obviously this podcast, great way.
Oh yeah. This is gonna be like therapy sessions, guys. Like even if you just listen and you're like, what the hell are these talking about? It's just a therapy session for us, really. We just wanted to put it out there.
That's it. Yep. I like go out through the week. I'm like, oh, this would be great to tell Evs on the
free
podcast.
therapy.
Right. Yeah, no, my therapist is so like keen. She's like, yeah, extra therapy, you know.
Can't wait to get a therapist as a guest on. That'd be so good.
So good. Yeah. She's got actually like a few people in mind that would be good guests too.
Gotta hook it up.
Shout outs, therapist.
Yeah. All the psychologists out there, we appreciate you.
Yep.
We know it's intense and hard work. So yeah.
I don't know how you do it. You know, so much compassion for so much crap. Like good on you, but like, wow.
Yeah.
What a load like to carry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, that was such a sidetrack. Okay.
Back to it.
Yeah, so fear of vulnerability. And something that I've learned actually through confronting this fear of vulnerability is that, you know, to really kind of be mindful to who you give that vulnerability to. And I think that's what we talk about when we're talking about breaking, you know, sharing the load, not just carrying the load in yourself.
Yeah.
And, you know, opening up to other people.
Yeah.
So to make sure, like, you know, like it's okay to take your time with it.
Mm-hmm.
And also sometimes that can be a good thing, you know. You might not necessarily always, you know, get the best result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's finding that balance of not relying on someone to fix the problem, but also not holding it in.
For sure. Yeah.
But I think back to what you were saying earlier about fear of being alone.
Yes.
Oh, I feel like people are saying so many situations out of fear.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially kind of personal and intimate relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I just know there's other people out there, or you know, some kind of support that you can get, people you can talk to.
But also, like,
just
view
remember.
it as an opportunity to, for me, I got a lot out of it because I think what I was scared of was to getting to know myself
Yeah.
in all aspects, like the good, bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
But I'm, now 6 months in and I'm like, holy crap, I love being alone,
Yeah.
and I love my inner world, something that I was really scared to like confront. I love my inner world.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that.
Yeah. I think just try and take the first step, no matter how much of a baby step it is. Just try and, start to get to know yourself, or even just spending time and being comfortable with it.
Yeah.
That can really
Sure.
help to grow that independence, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the great thing about getting comfortable with that is you then have more like, you kind of have like this abundance mindset, right?
Yeah.
Rather than a scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
So you're not just being like, oh shit, I have this like fear of like being alone. I have to feel like I have to avoid. I'm going to just take every relationship that I can.
Yeah.
You are able to like, one, you know yourself better. So you know what your needs are, you know what your wants are, and you know what your boundaries are.
And you know what your worth is.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You know what your worth is.
Yes. 100%. And so then from there, you actually can start to have quality relationships where you and the other person are able to get value from it, in that interpersonal connection way.
Yeah.
And so like it's just a vibe. Like,
yeah. I think that is the starting point, because then you can just build on your pillars, you build on your boundaries, you build on your relationships, you build on your triggers, you build on so many different things just from having that, okay, I'm going to put some time aside for myself to kind of, self-care and just accept myself as a person.
And have a relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, so in terms of managing loneliness, I think, so view it as an opportunity to get to know yourself.
Yeah.
But also reach, you can build a community, and where your vulnerability is safe, where you can share the load.
And I feel like the more you do it, the more you work on it, the less you'll be susceptible to kind of having those, not disappointing, but those relationships and those experiences that don't serve you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
For sure, 100%.
But the kind of breaking the habitual patterns and the habitual behaviours and just really navigating your way
100%
through the world without needing to be told or to be kind of ushered in a way. Yeah, guidance is great.
Yeah.
But
at the end of the day, you're accountable for your own life.
Yeah.
And
like, you're the only one experiencing it.
Exactly. Yeah. You have the consequences.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ooh, for sure.
It was such a liberating moment when like I realized when I was a lot younger, I was just very unsure of myself.
Yeah.
And I would ask other people for advice and then take it. And then there was at a certain point I was like, you know what? I'm just going to listen to myself.
Yeah.
And life's been amazing ever since. Like, it is a good vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's good as well, because then you don't have the blame game.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, accountability is a very powerful thing.
Yeah.
Like these. So we've got these like wax melts, and you can just dip your fingers into it and like put it onto your skin. It's so good.
Yeah.
I got these from a market, by the way.
Really? Which one?
Glebe Market.
Oh, Glebe Market's great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's nice.
Sorry, just side note there.
Yeah.
We just self-care, guys.
If you wanna,
self-care.
if you want to check it out, head to YouTube, New Vibe Podcast.
Yeah.
It'll be up there. We do have visual to accompany this fantastic audio.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if you are just listening, then just get into it. What's that? What's that thing that you can search and it's like
ASMR?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, shall we ASMR?
We could do
Let's do it.
ASMR.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Okay.
Will it pick it up? Oh, get into it. It's just gone really weird.
I think we've like changed genre here. Okay, back
you know
to
what? It's a full blue moon tonight, guys. So everything's weird and wonderful. It's also Halloween.
Oh, yep.
So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, so we're doing a full moon ritual.
Yeah.
Which will be great. You know, sorry, I just have this like pagan like imagery.
Yeah, Sam, I can imagine just being naked in the woods, like just fires burning, like sage going all over the place.
That's exactly what I had in my head.
Just like a random piece of material just blowing in the wind, owls and deers just coming out.
Oh, shit.
Can't wait.
Oh, it'll be
But
such
no,
a vibe.
we'll talk you through the full moon ritual that we're planning on doing.
Yeah. So, should we start with
Yeah.
the full moon water?
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, I guess maybe we should talk about the full moon.
Yeah, we'll start there and then we'll get into the ritual and the benefits of that. 100%. Sorry, that was a complete side note. In the podcast, when we do it weekly, we'll talk about kind of a topic, and then we really like our spirituality and astrology, which I was saying earlier. So we'll try and give like a weekly breakdown of what's going on in astrology. This one is really important tonight, this week, and yeah, tonight especially.
It's really the marker. Like I feel like it's the marker for a whole new cycle. Yeah. So that will be fun. Yeah. So basically tonight the full moon is in Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of retrograde going on, but also kind of wrapping up as well.
Yeah.
But
so it's the second full moon in October, which makes it a blue moon. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Which is obviously quite rare. We all hear the expression once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Taurus, and we're currently in Scorpio at the moment. So, I mean,
everything's very intense.
Everything's very intense. But I think, so I'll just bring something up. I have saved something here for the podcast because I am diligent at times. I like to think.
So I'll have to double check this, but I think it's been the first full moon on Halloween in like 20 years.
Yeah, something like
crazy like that.
Yeah.
So they say on Halloween that the veil between the spiritual realm and the earth realm is kind
thinnest.
of so you've got all your kind of magical, mystical things going on.
Yeah, you've got really so the original like Halloween was called Samhain. It was a pagan holiday. So witchcraft, vibe. But also a lot of nature, like connection with nature and spirituality in general. And the belief was that the veil between this world and the next one was the like thinnest it would be due to the equinox.
Yeah.
And so here we are today with Halloween. So basically, I mean, if you want like a little bit of history, so when the Catholic Church became the state religion in like 300 something AD by Constantine, there was a lot of adaptation of pagan holidays because paganism was the original like Roman Empire religion.
Yeah.
And one of those was Samhain, and then became All Hallows Eve, which is how we got to Halloween today.
Very interesting.
So it is the second full moon in October and occurring on Halloween. So a lot of energies, high energies. And we also have the moon in exact conjunction with Uranus, which is very rare as well. Wow. Because Uranus brings swift and unexpected changes. Ain't that the truth?
I don't know how much more of this I can tell.
Right? And also the sun recently entered Scorpio, which is creating an axis between Scorpio and Taurus. So the moon is exalted, which means it's, quite happy to be in the sign of Taurus. So
because I feel like those two are quite opposite signs,
they're opposite,
aren't they?
but they're complementary as well.
Yeah.
So, so this moon should be enjoyable, but very unpredictable, exciting, shocking, and wild revelations will come to the surface. So that's a fun time, and so true. And as with each full moon, we learn a lot about ourselves by understanding the signs and archetypes involved in the moon. So Taurus and Scorpio, as you've said, opposite signs. We've got earth and water here, but they're also very complementary. So they're yin and they're fixed, and very receptive, but also quite stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
Yep. So we all have these like archetypes in our charts to varying degrees in different placements. So even if they're not in our, our big 3 signs, so sun, moon and rising. Taurus is the archetype of the courtesan. So very earthly, very sensual, very about those kind of like earthly, like Epicurean pleasures.
Yeah.
Very earthbound and in their body.
Very grounded.
Very grounded. So the way to think of it is like, a woman eating grapes by the sea on a sunny day. Yeah.
I love that.
It's so good. It's
Just me at Bondi, guys. Just imagine me at Bondi eating grapes.
Right? On like a good weather day, not today.
In the sun, wind in my hair, sand on my toes.
Vibe. Whereas Scorpio is the archetype of the witch, so deeply connected to the spiritual and not afraid to go to the depths in life. So an alchemist transforming dark into light.
Oh.
So Scorpio is more interested in the psychological realms, the occult, the deep mysteries of life, and is also ruled by Pluto and Mars, which is quite rare because most star signs are only ruled by one planet.
Ah.
So Scorpio here has Pluto and Mars.
Oh, wow.
So where Scorpio is about the underworld, so you kind of get that Persephone vibe.
Yeah.
Taurus is about the earth. All about the psychological realms for Scorpio, whereas Taurus is about the here and now, that 3D, physical, tangible earth. So with this full moon, it's about really feeling into these 2 archetypes and how they play out within you and your life.
Yeah.
So the full moon allows us to kind of access our unconscious so we can see new parts of ourselves. So the highest exemplification of the 2 archetypes is to explore them, understand them, and ultimately come into balance with them.
Ooh.
So a good kind of way to contemplate it would be, how can you balance your psychological processing with being present in your body and nature? Do you relate to the witch or the courtesan archetype? And do you feel resistant to either of them? And how can you bring balance between the Scorpio and Taurus archetypes within yourself? So just a quick note, the full moon will impact most those with either a Taurus sun, moon or rising, Scorpio sun, moon or rising, or Aquarius sun, moon or rising. So that's fun. My moon is in Aquarius, so
I haven't got anything to worry about then. I'm all Virgo. I'm good to go.
Virgo queen. Yeah, just a little bit of a note here. So Ebony here is basically like a pure blood Virgo.
Yeah. If astrology was Harry Potter, I'm a pure blood. Don't know if that makes me Voldemort, but I'm hoping it doesn't.
Yeah. I could so see that, just start like a little uprising, where it's like, you get all the other pure blood signs. It's like, come on, guys.
Maybe I'll be the alternate universe Voldemort, where he's just like, he doesn't kill people, he brings people back to life, and it's against the world. Maybe it's frowned upon that he brings people back to life, and that's what he does.
It's actually so sweet. I'm almost tearing up. I see Voldemort's inner child.
Yeah. He just wants to run around fields with bunny rabbits and little antelope and
yeah.
Happy to just hear more. If you have no idea what we're on about when we talk about astrology as well, we'll link a website that we both use. It's quite good.
Really?
Cafe Astrology.
Yeah, Cafe Astrology.
And you can get a full free birth chart on there, and it goes into depth about what everything means, your different houses, your sun, moon, rising, your Mercury, Jupiter, all of that good stuff. So yeah. I think you need to know the location and time you were born.
If you don't know the time, you won't be able to get your rising sign, but you'll still be able to get a breakdown of, sun, moon, Venus, Gemini. Oh, shit, that's a Freudian slip if I ever heard it. Oh, fuck. Anyway.
Something's sneaking out there.
Bruh. Oh.
Anyway, might just edit that little bit out.
No, it's fine. I'll own it. Your Venus, your Mars, your Mercury, your Jupiter, the rest,
Yeah, they all have different meanings.
You can also get a breakdown of your houses as well.
Yeah. I think my third house, my Scorpio.
Yeah, and 9th was Taurus.
Yeah. So I have got placements of Scorpio and Taurus in my chart, but
if you got Aquarius too.
Oh, I'm not sure if I got Aquarius.
Yeah.
I think I've got Aries, but not Aquarius.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Aries gang. Yeah, so I'm an Aries with a Aquarius moon and Virgo rising. So there you go.
So I'm straight. I think 5 of mine. So my sun, my moon, my rising, my Venus, and my Mercury are all in Virgo.
So that's great. So your Mercury is, just for those who don't know, basically how you communicate. So I think it's really great that, you know, like from
Very analytical.
But also, like, you know, I think it kind of speaks to if your Mercury is kind of in the same house sign as your sun, moon or rising, it's like you kind of see what you get with you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like speaks to a level of authenticity.
Yeah.
Whereas my Mercury is in Taurus, which means like I'm quite like stubborn and abrupt and, you know,
set in your ways.
Yeah. But like very like grounded, but I feel like Virgo has more tact when they communicate. Like they're both earth signs, right? But
yeah.
So I'm to the point, but I'm not necessarily a master of like being tactful. Yep. So yeah, if you wanna break down there, head over to Astro Cafe. We'll link it in the show notes.
But yeah, so our full moon ritual, I'm really excited about this.
Yes.
I can't wait.
All right. So basically, first off, we're gonna be sage, like sage, all sage, everything. Yep. For those who are listening, we're waving the sage as we speak.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Head over to YouTube to check it out, or Instagram. But we so yeah, sage everything. And then get some moon water. So like a great, I mean, I think it would be great to like write down our intentions. You know how we're going to use this energy.
Dish that we can like burn it in.
Okay.
Hype. New Vibe Tribe. This is what we do.
That's it. Yeah, and if you want to check it out, we'll record some of the full moon ritual and pop it on the socials. So
it's all about like cleansing and getting
clearing
rid
out
of
the old.
Yeah, anything that doesn't serve us anymore.
If the universe won't do it for us, we'll do it ourselves. And that's kind of what the vibe of the new moon is, the full moon is about. So so setting intentions, burning it, but then I think there's some herbs and essential oils that we've got as well. So we can get the water out in the moonlight, so the moon can like, you know, that intention can be absorbed within the water. So even if, you know, some people drink the water throughout the month, which is, I don't know how sanitary that is, so I might give that a miss. But
yeah, I think just storing it.
Yeah,
maybe.
Even
but
just
we'll
like,
give it a go. Yeah, we'll give it a go.
Put a few drops on the face, remind yourself of that intention, kind of really tap into that. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
So
not just getting rid of kind of things that don't serve us, but making room for new things and new beginnings to come into our lives.
And really identifying what we want those new beginnings to be.
Yeah.
What will serve us. So we're creating space for, you know, by clearing what doesn't serve us.
Yeah.
And kind of manifesting those intentions of what does serve us. And
I think it's really good as well because obviously this year has been absolutely crazy.
What a shit show.
Oh, it's been wild. But to be honest, there's been good that's come out of it because I feel like the entire world has started to do a bit more self-discovery.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like even just in like a corporate context, so many corporations are really having like honest, genuine and frequent conversations about wellness and mental health, which I think is just incredible. Yeah. I 10 years ago would not have thought that
would have happened.
No way. Like it's just, So I think that's huge. There's an acknowledging of like our shared vulnerability. And I think like, not to make light of COVID, but one thing that COVID taught us is that we're all connected. One guy's actions over in Wuhan impacted us all across the world. And that kind of also illustrates that, you know, one person can make a difference in the lives of others.
And I think touching on that as well, I think another thing that COVID really highlighted is we can still communicate. Yeah. You know, and we're not all alone.
Yeah, that's so true.
I remember having so many like FaceTimes, even more so. I mean, my family are all in England anyway, so that's my main form of communication with them. But it amplified like 10 times over because of COVID, because not only could I not see them, so they were speaking to me, but they couldn't see each other, and they only live 5 minutes away from each other. So every Sunday we were all doing a family FaceTime, which was amazing.
So nice. That is so nice.
Like before that, you do forget that someone is on the other end of a telephone or
and but also like how valuable like that communication is and that connection is. I really feel like it was such a like opportunity for us to realize like how we can connect better with ourselves, but also, you know, because a lot of us were in lockdown, but also how we can best connect with other people.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of creativity came out of this year as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I used to just be like a numbers and like analytics kind of person, but I've started like painting. I've started doing things that I enjoy and having fun and like just being a kid again.
Yeah, nice.
So
yeah,
it's been good.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I think this kind of full moon cleansing, rebirth, although we have the new year in December, I feel like this is kind of like everything's starting to wind down. So it's like the rebirth of a new cycle.
Well, especially with the Saturn and Jupiter. They're going to be in
conjunction?
Yeah, in conjunction with Aquarius, which is actually quite like a huge astrological thing. It's going to be there for a while, and basically it's really like interesting correlative timing with COVID, because Aquarius is like a humanitarian. They're crap with like one-on-one relationships, Aquarius, but they see that big picture and they have so much love for humanity as a whole. So I think it's just really interesting timing. You know, it's kind of like that, you know, rebuilding after COVID and everything, both in our personal lives but also as a society, in a way that is more humanitarian, and big picture, if that makes sense. Collective, that'd be the word.
Vibing it loving
it. Too good. So shall we jump onto our challenge?
So I think what we're going to try and aim to do is either a weekly or monthly. We're not really going to restrict ourselves, but we'd like to do some challenges that we can interact with you guys on social media with. So I think we were thinking of doing kind of a journaling challenge, a meditation challenge, and just loads of different fun things. So if there's any challenges that you guys are interested in as well, please let us know.
100%.
We'd love some ideas.
Yeah, I would love to like do it with you. You know, and I'd love to kind of, you know, experience something new in my own development.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I can only see as like, you know, from my perspective, it'd be great to get something new there, some new development.
So should we start with an easy one? We'll do a weekly challenge.
Yeah.
So,
I reckon 5 minutes yoga.
Oh yeah. 5 minute yoga or 5 minute meditation.
All right, you know what? Meditation's the one I struggle with, so that would be more of a challenge.
I feel like meditate just because it's 5 minutes. I mean, you can probably do some yin yoga in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But in terms of doing poses and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Might need a little longer.
Yep. That's a good call. Yep. Let's do 5 minute meditation.
Yeah. So I think the challenge is going to be we'll carve out 5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Just to meditate. And if you've never meditated before, there's some great videos on YouTube. I know everyone can struggle to kind of sit there and just concentrate on nothing, essentially, or, you know, calm the mind, still the mind. There's some really good tips and tricks that I think we'll definitely share in another podcast.
100%. Yeah.
But yeah, so just the challenge will be just to sit down for 5 minutes, maybe listen to a guided meditation if you're first getting into it. But just really trying to focus on just stopping, breathing, not thinking about what you're doing.
Love it. Let's do it. I'm so keen.
We'll check in next week and see how everybody went.
Oh, accountability.
Oh.
I actually have to set reminders on my phone, so I can be accountable and not just be like, oh crap, where'd the week go? I was
Yeah.
supposed to meditate for 5 minutes.
But also be forgiving. If you forget, like, it's okay. But
Yeah, like, perfectionism is another avoidance mechanism,
Yeah.
Gotta have that self-compassion. We are humans. We are on a journey.
We are.
Amazing. All right, awesome.
Oh, well, guys, well, thank you so much for listening to our first podcast. We'll link all of our socials in the show notes, but just
Welcome and thanks for becoming a part of the new Vibe Tribe.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.